Don't get robbed coming down the mountain. In this educational episode, I'm going to address what causes most retirees to run out of money. How many people have scaled Mount Everest? Over 4,000, in fact, nearly 5,000 people have scaled Mount Everest. Do you know how many people have died in that attempt or while doing that? Over 250 people. Now, let me ask you, do you think most of them died going up the mountain or down the mountain? Yeah, down the mountain. Well, I have found that a lot of retirees, they get hurt, they die financially, going down the mountain of life, retirement, because they didn't see it coming. The negative impact of taxes. They thought they were going to be in a lower tax bracket. And if they save very much, they're not in a lower tax bracket. And they've killed their deductions. Congress keeps raising taxes because of irresponsible government spending or the printing of money. The other danger is inflation, which cuts the purchasing power of the dollar in half. At 3% inflation, it was manageable, but then inflation hit 5%, which means it's going to double every, 14, 15 years. But when inflation starts to hit 7.2%, it's every 10 years. 10%, the cost of living doubles every 7.2 years. Well, the actual real rate of inflation in the year 2021, 2022 was over 15%. In fact, I think it was as high as 25%. But the government does not report the cost of living increase on gasoline, prescriptions, and so forth. They throw that out. They changed that clear back in the 1980s. So when they reported inflation at 8.7%, because they don't want to pay Social Security recipients the real cost of living increase, you can pretty much triple whatever they report it to be. So let's just say it's 15%. 15 into the rule of 72 means the cost of living will double in 4.8 years. Well, people coming down the mountain of life in retirement, they get hurt because taxes take, 25, 30, 33%, 40% or more. They have to pull out $150,000 out of an IRA or 401k to net $100,000 to buy gas and groceries. And that $100,000, maybe they didn't need that 5 years earlier. They got by on $50,000, but the cost of living has doubled now. So that now they need a net of $100,000 after tax to buy the same gallons of gas and loaves of bread that $50,000 bought 5 years earlier. So taxes and inflation cause a lot of people to get hurt coming down the mountain of life, and people outlive their money. The third is market volatility. And so a lot of people run out of money because money in the market, the market goes down and comes up. And so people panic because Wall Street was never designed to create predictable income. And so Dalbar, who studies investor behavior, says if you just bought and held and left your money in the market and just sort of weathered those 20, 30, 40% drops in the market, you should average, 9%. Well, people, they can't stand to do that. And so when the market starts to go down, 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 they sell when it drops 25, 30, 35%. They sell low. And then they wait until the market comes back up quite a bit, and then they buy back in high. So the average return is only about 3.5%, and that's why the financial services industry came out with this 4% rule. They only want you to pull out 4% a year. Well, golly, $1 million nest egg only generating $40,000 a year before tax, after tax, even in a 25% bracket, is only giving you a 3% return. That's pathetic. The reason why I like max-funded indexed universal life is because I can earn a net rate of return of 9 or 10. 9% is 3 times as much as 3%. $90,000 of tax-free income is way better than $30,000 of after-tax income out of an IRA or 401k. So for years, this is why I have been telling people, you know what? I don't want you to outlive your money, so let's protect it from the negative impact of taxes, inflation, and market volatility. So when we're talking about this, I explained it in my book, The Laser Fund, but let me refer you to another story from one of my favorite movies from years ago. If you remember the 1970s Western film featuring Robert Redford and Paul Newman, it was Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And they were, robbing trains and so forth. And Mr. E.H. Harriman of the Union Pacific Railroad was hiring professional trackers. And so things got pretty heated. So Butch and Sundance went to South America, and they ended up in Bolivia. Well, they were robbing banks in Bolivia until the Bolivian government sort of got on their tail. And so they decided to go straight, okay? And so they hired out themselves as payroll guards for a gold mine for their payroll. And I love this scene because it illustrates the point I'm going to make right now. On the first day on the job, they're going down the mountain, so to speak, to get the payroll, the gold. And Butch and Sundance are being led by their leader on a mule, and he's up ahead of them. But they're back there ready, and they're sort of going. I'll bet the bandits are up there behind the rocks on the right. Oh, I'll bet they're behind the bushes up there on the left. And they're just looking out for the bandits. Now, here's some professional bandits looking out for where the bandits are hiding. And their payroll boss turns around and looks at him and says, "Morons. I have morons on my team. They don't rob you when you don't have the money. They rob you when you have the money. Don't worry while we're going to get the money. Worry when we have the money." And sure enough, they were robbed, and the scene broke out where they were shooting all of the bandits when they finally had the money. The point is this: when the government is hard up for tax revenue, when they have been spending too much money, printing too much money, where do they go to get money, to get revenue? They go to the people who have the money, okay? And that's usually retirees who have saved money. So I think it's unfair, but that's why the government comes after retirees who have the money. Oh, well, okay, let's tax people, and it's the people who have the money. So all I'm saying is, I want you to be protected from the government robbing you of your hard-earned savings. I'm a red-blooded American. I think we should all pay our fair share of tax. But frankly, you could just pay the tax and roll the money over to a max-funded IUL policy and accumulate your money like I have at a net internal rate of return averaging over 10%. And it's totally tax-free. Now you're immune from taxes. You link your returns to the things that inflate. I don't like inflation any more than anybody, but it doesn't hurt me because I'm linking my returns in indexed universal life to the things that are going up in price. So I've always been able to earn a rate of return greater than the inflation rate at the time. You can't be rowing upstream at the rate of 2, 3, or 4, or 5 miles an hour when the current of inflation starts to come down at 7, 10, or 15%. You're going backwards. The third thing is by using indexing. That's not an index mutual fund. Your money's not in the market. You get to participate when the market goes up, but not lose when the market goes down. I love helping people eliminate those three dangers: taxes, inflation, and market volatility, by utilizing a max-funded indexed universal life insurance contract structured correctly and funded properly. If it is deemed what I call a laser fund. LASER is an acronym that stands for Liquid Asset Safely Earning Returns. This book shown on the screen here is book number 11 out of 12 that I have authored so far, and it has been flying off of our warehouse shelves. It's actually 2 books in one. This white-covered side is about 14 chapters, 200 pages actually, that has all kinds of charts and graphs and explanations in it. But this orange-covered side, you flip it over, and this has 12 chapters, 100 pages, with 62 actual client stories. This is for the right brain learner. Now, if you want to use your whole brain, these are high concepts coupled with high touch, right brain and left brain. And so I would love to gift you a copy of this book. And so you can claim your free copy by simply going to laserfund, laserfund.com. Click on the link below. You contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I'll cover the rest of that cost. And I'll fire out a hard copy to you. While you're in there claiming your free copy, if you like to listen and learn or watch and learn, there's audio and video formats available. Check out the free educational webinars we teach on a regular weekly basis. And also, if you want, you can schedule an appointment with an IUL specialist to see how a properly structured laser fund can benefit you so that you can go down the mountain safely and not get robbed when you have the money. It will also show you how to accumulate the money and protect it.